as a top entrepreneurs as well. So that's Mass Challenge in a nutshell. masschallenge.com or .org.il. You're more than welcome to check it out. And with no further ado, I want to go back to our lecture for this month. It's a great honor to host Daniel. Daniel Glickman is the CEO of emaze. We are right now. I'm in the emaze at the emaze offices with Daniel, just here, which is new for me. It's a new experience. And I wanted to check it out. It's in Tel Aviv, of course. Emaze is the world's leading online business presentation software. Daniel is an experienced online marketing manager with roots in Boston and Tel Aviv. Daniel also advises to several startups and has a popular blog. You are more than welcome to learn more about Daniel, and of course, follow him. He writes blogs, and brilliant blogs, and more content at confessions.com. CMO, sorry, Chief Marketing Officer, confessions.com. I wanted to write something from Daniel's LinkedIn, and I allowed myself, and he gave me the permission. So I would just like to say that Daniel also is in charge of marketing King meetups in Tel Aviv. They are brilliant. We just came from another meetup in a pub here. It wasn't Marketing King, but it was about marketing, and that's great. Always great to hear. As a CMO for Powtoon, which is a different startup, I want to specify 3 things that caught my eye, and I hope it's probably all of our aspirations. Increased web traffic from 10K per month to 2.5 million a month within 1 year, which is more than one can imagine. And then increased revenue by 10, X times 10 within 1 year. I mean, that's brilliant things. And increased customer average lifetime value by 46%. So please pay attention. You're more than welcome to ask questions. Just enter your question, and you can press send if you don't want to enter your email address over there. Down the bottom, you can see it down below the screen itself. If you put your email, so we will be able to come back to you as well, personally. So I want to pass everything to Daniel now, and stage is yours, Daniel.
Fantastic. Okay. Thanks. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for that intro, Oded. Glad to be here. It's always fun to share some knowledge, and they have really a bunch of stuff to show you today. So, a tiny bit about myself and about emaze. Really, emaze is an amazing Israeli story. A lot of people now know about us, but we're a big company at this point, and we're very successful. We're really the leading online presentation software for business, and the growth is spectacular. We're showing about 20% increase in revenue every month, about 200,000 new signups every month. It's explosive, and we're doing amazingly well, and the rate is just crazy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you today all the tools me and my team work with every day here, and show you the inside scoop of it. There's so much more to talk, but we're just going to give you a quick walkthrough of all of them, and hopefully you'll gain some insight into why we use them and how we use them, and figure out the rest by yourself. Now, you can always contact me separately, and visit my blog and my CMO Confessions. There's a lot more info there. Really, the key to my marketing strategy is based in this quote here that I wrote. And I'm a big believer in knowing the results of everything you do. So no matter if it's an online banner or if it's a street sign, we always strive to measure and understand what was the benefit of it. And we do it in a way where we simply put a price tag on every step that the user or that any individual makes interacting with you. And we call it a funnel. Term I hope a lot of you already know. A funnel is basically the steps people make towards purchasing your product, described in a type of chart called a funnel chart. Right? But we use it more broadly, saying, okay, this is the user experience or the different steps, describing the steps the user has to take to get to be a paid user. It varies dramatically from one company to another. And what we do is we really take all the marketing costs and we can break them down by various departments or channels too, where we say, okay, for a user to get to a certain point, say visit our website, how much did it cost us to get there? For a user to sign up, how much did it cost us to get one user to sign up? And that would include inside it all the costs of all those who did not sign up, right? All the expenses that we spend on others who didn't sign up. And we will get more into detail about this soon. But this is the must-do for everything we do in marketing. If you don't believe in this, then it's a different form of marketing. And if you believe that you cannot measure, I would strongly disagree. Now, we can measure. Some things are harder to measure, and maybe they're less accurate, but they're still measurable. So let's dive right into it. What do we do and how do we measure? So once we get our basic website up and running, we need to know, okay, what's happening? What are the users doing? How did they get to the website? What's happening inside the website? And to do that, switch the screen here. The basic tool that everybody uses is Google Analytics. Now, Google Analytics is a crazy tool. This is actually the emaze Google Analytics right here. These are real data here, and we can measure a ton of stuff. One thing I do want to show you here is really the abilities that we have to segment demographics of users. So a lot of people would use the very basic functions of analytics, but you can do so much with it. You can also connect it to your advertising platforms, such as Google AdWords, and really connect the two together to transfer data between one and the other. And tell Google AdWords to say, you know what, start targeting more females or more males, depending on what my product does. In our case, we seem to attract more female users. We don't really understand why that's happening. It just seems to be happening, right? And that's something that tells us maybe about the product. Should we or should we not be making more templates for women, or maybe they're just happy the way it is. Maybe we're too feminine and we should have more male stuff, right? So this is stuff that really also provides a lot of info for the product development, product marketing, but also where should we place our ads and how to optimize them. There's a tremendous amount of wealth of info here in Google Analytics, and one of the basic things we do is track where is traffic coming from. That's under the acquisition tab, right? And we can see under acquisition, various traffic we bring in. So one thing that we do is we always, whenever we post a link to somewhere, and we'll say www.emaze.com, say I'm sending somebody to my blog, I'm always going to put in a UTM code, which starts with a question mark. If you don't know what that is, look it up. The UTM code basically tells our analytics system where did that traffic come from, right? So then we can check our various campaigns and see how well they perform. Everything has to be tracked. Emails, ads, just content we place in different places. We're always going to include UTM codes in a consistent naming convention. Now, what Google Analytics does not do is allow us to look at individual users. At least it doesn't do it easily. Right? We can look, for instance, here at behavior and behavior flow, right? And we can say, okay, people who come through the home page, what happens afterwards? But the challenge there is, we want to oftentimes know, did they do the second step after they did the first step, and was it as a result of the first step? So for instance, how many people created a presentation after signing up, right? How many people created a presentation after interacting with a piece of content? These are the kind of stuff that we call funnel analysis, and Google Analytics is weak in that. So what I like to use is a software called, what we call this is called Mixpanel. This is one of the top of the line softwares. You can use a bunch of other ones. I think they do have a free account, which has up to a certain number of events in it. I think 25,000 events per month or something. So if you're a small startup, you can definitely use it. A bigger startup, it's worth the money. And basically, you can start correlating here information. So one of the things that is really important is to say, okay, you know what, in funnels, I want to figure out how many people did one step and did the other. Same goes for retention. And it can give you a list of the users who did something, right? Um, the other thing you can do is actually get insights and say, you know what, I want to figure out what is the correlation between somebody who created many presentations and then did, and also is a community user. So you can find these correlations because we're tagging every single individual user, and then the database here is easily queried to give you these numbers and formulas. So questions like, what is the conversion ratio, meaning how many people end up paying, between people from a certain country versus another? What is what is the likelihood that somebody would share if they came via Facebook versus if somebody came via Twitter? These are very easily answered. Okay, so Mixpanel, fantastic tool. Really, if you really want to understand how your system works and what is the user experience in the context of a funnel and getting towards paying, this is one of the best tools to have. There are some other competitions. Check them out. See what they have. But you'll end up using it. There's no way of avoiding it. Leads us to things like SEO. Okay. Now, in SEO, which is search engine optimization, critical these days to growing your startup and getting your marketing right. So you want to appear organically in search, and this is actually a graph of the search of presentations that people created. You can see what people are looking for and what they're finding, and very interesting. One of the top, and this is statistical sampling, so it only shows a fraction of the total information. But you can see how many people actually saw you in a search result, how many clicked. You can drill down there. This is one of the most basic and important tools. A lot of people use it, but there are a few very important things to know about that people don't know about webmasters. First of all, you got messages here, okay? So it tells you, oops, we've seen more errors and it's affecting your search. You have to check it, you have to act upon it. So many times errors, just some random bug that prevented us from Google from indexing our site, fixed it right away. There we go. Rather than waiting a long time to see a drop in organic traffic. Right. A bunch of other stuff are, we've got other resources here. And then here there's a wealth of great stuff. So everything from Google Places if you're a local business, to adding your website, but also structured data markup helper. So what Google Webmaster Tools allows you to do is not having to tag different pieces of data in your content and tell Google, this page here is description of a local business, or this is a restaurant listing of a restaurant or an event. Right? You can just tag it here and help it and just tell it with a very quick visual representation. It actually show on the live page. You tell Google, you paint a little piece of text, say, hey, this is a software application. And you can just keep, and you can just, and it's great. So you don't have to talk to your programmers. You can just do this stuff. It works really well. Continuing with SEO, say we were back here and we said, you know what, we are seeing that, search traffic is really doing well on some keyword versus the other, right? We're doing well on pros and cons of living near a volcano. That's a presentation that's doing well on search and organic search. You could actually create a blog post or create a text that is optimized for that to get even more traffic. And what you have to do here, this is a great tool, free. And all you have to do is paste the URL in it, or you could paste your blog post or whatever. And I'm just going to put my home pages here. And it's going to show me my keyword density. Now, this is golden because this is a free tool, and what it allows me to do is look here. Okay, online presentation software is my keyword phrase that is most dominant in my homepage, and I want everything here to be really those phrases that I saw in my webmaster tool that I want to target, right? So I'm going to really change the text in the homepage to make sure that the phrases here are the phrases I'm looking for. Okay? You can also look at your competition or other websites that are doing really well. Say you saw a site that was ranking well on Google. You search Google for your competition, for something you want to be known for. Somebody else pops up, some random site. Say, how did they do it? Plug them right into here, and you can see. It'll also tell you, the various tags, right, and links that inside the text, so you can really optimize it. This is about 50% of your SEO work right here, okay, in this tool. And it's a free tool, and it's great. There are other tools that can help you do similar stuff. Most of them focus on analytics and SEO analytics. I find that you really don't need most of them, but also a couple that we do use anyways. Okay. Now, one other thing we want to do is really understand the user journey through the funnel, right? So when they come to our website, what happens? So we see the numbers in the analytics and in the mixed panel, right? And we see, you know what? We're getting a 35% conversion ratio on our homepage. That's actually pretty nice. But could we get more, right? And so what we do is I'm using a product called Hotjar, which right now is free. It's in beta, and it allows you to do heat maps. And it's a great product. It's got a few kinks, but I don't mind because it's free.
now I can see you. Now everyone can see you. Now you can. Just a second, guys. We're gonna try and fix the sound.
Whenever I try to share the screen, okay.
Now, just share the screen now.
Alright, alright, now we'll go for here. I just think we do have something going on there. Okay.
Okay, now I can see you.
Just in the screen, this is the wrong window. And there we go. Okay. So now where were we? So where were we? Okay, we talked about Hotjar. That was a tool for understanding the user flow throughout your website and helping you determine what pages do work or don't work. Really great tool, free, still a little buggy, but really worth it because great value for your money. A couple of other really awesome tools. This one is called SEMrush, which does cost a little bit of money. But it's quite incredible. You can put in here any website you want. I type in emaze, right? And it'll show you how much, what the reach is on organic, on paid, and on backlinks. It's not always accurate, but the trends are true. And it really depends where they buy their traffic from. I think our traffic is actually much larger than this. But otherwise, it's pretty accurate in terms of the details. And you can see what keywords we're doing well. You can see that our organic traffic has gone through the roof, and our paid traffic is pretty stable, which is really true. And show you what keywords any website is ranking for, how they compare to their competitors in terms of quantity of keywords. And you can also say what this website is paying for, what keywords are they paying to be on. So there's a tremendous amount of info here under organic, really helping you with SEO and especially advertising, getting your advertising to work with. You can also screen by different countries. I think there it's less accurate compared to the US. I think the US it's actually pretty good. Another website that complements that, which is really cool, and actually the free version is, for me, is enough. I never saw a reason to pay, with Similarweb, another Israeli company, which do a fantastic job. Again, it shows lower traffic for us, but it shows you the sources of the traffic, and it shows you what where we're strong. We're very strong in the U.S. and that is correct, and Brazil is also true, right? So this is actually pretty accurate, and it shows you where the traffic is coming from, what sites, who's sending us traffic, which is phenomenal. So one thing you can do, and we do this, is actually see, okay, who's referring traffic to similar sites of similar, it would be interesting to our target audience, and simply go to them and say, and try to figure out why, why are they referring traffic to them. Probably they'll be willing to refer traffic to us too. So, if it's basically giving them interesting content, or if it's paying them to put something up, or if it's, if it's user-generated content, what is the story there, and we target that. You can also see where traffic is moving towards. Really, really cool feature that you can get here, which typically costs money, you can get it for free, is under display advertising. You can see the ads that your competitors are using. And here you can see ads that emaze has been using. Now, truth be told, some of these ads are not really actively used by us. What you can't see here is what percentage, which of these ads are more popular for us, which are we actually using, which were just like a test that we tried and we gave up on. But you can see the direction, and so you can really learn from others who did well. And we learned a lot from a few other Israeli sites and international sites that we thought were good. And we thought, hey, let's see what panels they're putting up. And they're really good at advertising. Let's learn from them. That's one thing we did. Of course, you could check your competition, see what they are doing, try to see who they are targeting, and make sense out of that too. So, an amazing tool. Lots of stuff here. We go on forever, but you're smart. You could figure this out. So Similarweb. Enough with SEO. We had enough with that. What we need to talk about now is more of the creative side. So when we're creating content, really, WordPress is the platform for us. And on WordPress, there are a few plugins that we want to use. Where I'm going to go here to my WordPress site. Switch screens here for a second.
Daniel, hang on for a second. The presentation doesn't follow.
Not following. Yep, I'll give it 2 seconds. 1 second here. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Now your I can see it.
You can see my. Yeah. Okay, great. So this is my personal blog, actually, SEMrush Confessions, and this is my WordPress backend. So the WordPress is, if you don't use it, it's really the platform for blogging, for creating custom blogs. My website is created entirely on WordPress. A lot of other websites, like the emaze website, has a portion that contains WordPress. Now WordPress, even CNN is built on WordPress. WordPress is amazingly easy to create and content in it. And basically you can create posts here and so on. But there are a lot of different plugins that you can use, which really make your life easier. And what you do is you can add plugins. For instance, there are plugins that help you add, okay, use this blog post right there. Plugins for adding the social share buttons. And so this social share bar right here, for instance, this one actually came with my theme, but there are similar ones that you can just install a plugin, and bingo, you can visitors to your blog post will be able to share it on all the social networks. There are plugins for SEO, and one of the best ones out there is Yoast Seo, right? Where you can for every blog post, it automatically will show down at the bottom. You add in the key phrase you're trying to optimize for, and we'll give you a quick cheat sheet of how well you're doing. It doesn't do the keyword density and all of that, but it does do, it's a quick and dirty way to see that you're on track. The WordPress is really great. A few downsides to WordPress is that security isn't great. It's easily hacked, and you have to, if you're a bigger website, you really have to get a security specialist on top of it to to build some stuff for you there. So this is your WordPress Yoast SEO, and you can really put in your key phrase there, and in your meta description and SEO and your title, and it'll give you a quick scoring here to see whether or not they're doing well and you cover their grounds. It doesn't tell you how to do it, just tells you whether you did it.
Daniel, we have a question. Someone asked if you're going
We follow up on this, but I'm sure Dad will also have his own follow-up, and this video can be shown. So stay tuned to his emails, and he'll get you all the information you need. So the fun part begins here, right? We have our analytics, all our basic stuff, and set up. Now we have to start creating content and doing all this creative work here. Now I have to find my window. So this one will work. Here we go. 2 seconds. So Google Hangouts is one tool, right, that you might want to use for distributing content like on webinars. It's a little hard to pick the windows. Okay, so one challenge that I've always had, and that I think is a big challenge for many marketers, is email design. And I've searched everywhere for a product that helps you design emails. And I finally found one, which I'm really, really happy to share with you, because emails are tricky. This one is called B3, the beta, b3.io. It has its downsides, but the biggest thing that's important to remember is that email is not really our HTML. It is primitive HTML, HTML 2.0. There are many things you cannot do in email, and there are many things that if you do it wrong, you will it'll just not show up in your email in the client's mail in their mail client, right? In your user's mail client. And there's so many of them, so it's so hard to optimize for all of these. Now, there are services such as Litmus that allow you to check what your mail looks like. But what I've found historically is that people, we typically have to go to a designer to design the email, then it goes to a programmer, then it doesn't show up right in the test, then we have to go back, and the designer says, no, you can't destroy my design, so on. So tools like MailChimp, etc., allow you to design emails very well, but they don't allow you to export that email, and they don't give you the code. They will unless you send it through their own service, right? You could go around it and send yourself a test and then use it, but I'd rather just use something like this. And so this tool is designed to help you take email and export it as an HTML file, and boom, put it in your mail delivery system. And it's really great because what you can do is you take, you got these different types of content blocks here. Dump one right there, okay. Dump this there, say I like it that way. And don't forget your call to action, nice big button. Oops, and something went wrong here. Free tools sometimes are buggy. This is the first time I've had trouble with it actually. So it's great. One downside, it won't save. So it won't save drafts on the system. It'll allow you to download it, and that's great. So I use this a lot. I think it's great. It's a way to kind of go around the designers, quickly design an email of my own, and then shoot it out. And it is optimized, so it's great. I tried it. Fail-proof. Completely fail-proof. There we go. Looks great, right? Now you can change the colors in here, so on. When you're ready, quick, simple editor. You see this button will show up as a text, not as an image, because images are blocked sometimes, all of that stuff. When you're ready, all you have to do is click save. You can also send a test, works great. Now, they want you to upgrade in order to send the emails to them, but they don't force you to. You can download it. It's great. I love them. Great people deserve a big hug and thanks from us. Yes. Another tool that really, if you're doing marketing, can't live without is Hootsuite, which is a tool for monitoring your social media and more. Okay, so in Hootsuite, I basically hook up all my social media channels, my LinkedIn page, my YouTube, my Facebook page, my Pinterest, Twitter, all of this just never ends, right? And you put them in here in streams, and then you can just see right away, look, somebody actually shared this tweet about Unit's presentation, look at this beautiful photo, and I can just go right here and retweet it right from here, or I can comment, reply, and say, awesome job, thank you so much, click send. I can also go into lists, Google Plus here, right? Put a little +1, quickly go, bing, 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 right here. Now, I don't only have to follow, check my followers on my own stream. I can check things like keywords presentation, So I can see, hey, somebody's posting about presentations and they mention us. So I'm just going to put a little comment right there and say, yeah, why did you not mention me? And put, no, I'll write it nice here and say, hey, did you know about emaze? If you get your presentation software, you should check it out. Be glad if you write about it too. And these things work really well. So you can see it all in one place. Another thing is, nowadays Facebook and mostly Facebook, but also Twitter to an extent, becomes sort of an extension of your customer support. So you have to answer these stuff very quickly, or else they start getting mad, especially Twitter. Nowadays, within 15 minutes, if somebody doesn't get a feedback, they get pissed. So it's just expectations, it's kind of like to text somebody, if they get back to quicker than to call them. So, yeah, this makes it really easy to stay on top of things. It does have a really good platform for writing tweets and shortening links in your, not just tweets, all of your different social channels at once. I find that that Hootsuite isn't as powerful for that. I find that Buffer is much better. What Buffer will actually do is they'll put separate UTM codes for various channels. So the idea of Buffer is it easily allows you to not to tweet all at once. You just go in and say, I want to retweet, I want to retweet, I want to tweet this, I want to tweet that. But you do it once a day, and now you don't tweet them all at once. So Buffer can buffer it over time. But what it'll do is it'll shorten the links, and for each channel it'll shorten it to a different link, so you can track and see, what, these number of leads actually came not just from the one post, but some of them came from, all of them came from Facebook, none of them came from LinkedIn. Right? So what does that tell me? Do more one, not the other, or what have you. So that's to get your content out. I did mention, be free in email. I did want to mention that, there are various email platforms out there. When you go for a retail service like MailChimp, you're paying a very high premium to get that kind of small business service where you can do the editing and so on. What you really want is something that allows you to create emails based on behavior or events. And so really Mixpanel allows you to do that to an extent, and basically you can create different scenarios where I can say, I want to send an email to anybody who did something. You type in the email here, blah, 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 who is it from? You can create a separate version of the email so I can see which one is better than the other. And then I can say, when do you want to send it? And I can say, I want to send it to anybody who hasn't been to the website too. That kind of stuff is called marketing automation or email automation. Those are very sophisticated. What I think Mixpanel does a really nice job at it, but you can also find other services such as Customer.io. Marketo is really the best at it, but they are also the most expensive. So there are various solutions out there to really consider. Email still is the #1 lead generator or mover from free to premium that we see. Still, in every company I talk to, email is still the #1 mover. It doesn't really, it's not good for generating new traffic. It's very good for moving people from free to premium and all of those stuff. So different tactics we use to get people to do that, but that's really the still the #1 choice. It is getting more and more expensive to use email. So it used to be almost free. Nowadays to get past all the spam filters and everything. It's by the time you get somebody to open your email, it's not as cheap as it used to be. So just bear that in mind. Let's get back to the last slide here. Great. So those are a lot of different tools. I hope that that it was a really quick and brief through all of them. But I hope that at least one, if not many, gave you a lot of insight and ideas of how to use them. And you can feel free to look me up at the cmrconfessions.com. There's a lot of info there about what I do. I write freely about it. And of course, this presentation was made with Unix, which I'm very proud of being the CMO of. I love it. I love this company. It's doing very well. And so thank you again for this opportunity.
So, can I use your mic? So thank you very much, Daniel. If it's okay with you, can we have a few questions? Like, we have 4 questions. First, was brilliant. Of course, my presentation was email as well.
Yes, I noticed.
Very easy to just transform the information from regular PowerPoint, and definitely makes the change. Thank you. Someone asked about how to market. Is there any differences marketing social app? I mean, addressing the marketing for social app.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question correctly. I think would the marketing strategy be different based on the product or marketing, specifically looking at social applications?
Yeah.
I think the answer is absolutely yes. The basic principles are the same as what I talked about. We want to know what it costs us to get somebody to get to a certain step in our funnel. Right? That basic principle stays exactly the same. But how we get them to do something and what is that step would vary dramatically from one product to another. And if you're a social app, my intuition would say you probably need to be in the social sphere. So what does that look like there? And my inclination is always to try and use the product itself to demonstrate its ability. So for instance, we're in the presentation space. How do we leverage presentations themselves as a marketing tool, as a content tool, etc. In social apps, I think the same goes for true. If you're using an app in social, show the power of that app and leverage it. If it's a very niche product that's not for the major masses, you have to use advertising to boost that effect, because otherwise one won't catch to the effect that you need to. So you have to do those advertising, which we do too. You take ads to accelerate the speed at which things happen.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so I mean, in the past, everyone addressed brand awareness all the time. I mean, brand was the most important thing. Making a logo and then present your company or brand properly. I mean, you're talking about tools all the time. So, in terms of getting results or bringing by results, how important is being the best brand? The best look best as a brand.
That's a very interesting question for startups, because as a startup, I would argue very few startups get to develop their own brand because we're so small, right? One of our competitors is called Prezi, and every now and then somebody will say, oh, but Prezi is a big brand. You'll say, no, Prezi is a startup. We talked to a journalist at the Wall Street Journal, and we mentioned Prezi in the conversation. Prezi, oh, I covered them once. Do they still exist? Like, most people in the world never heard of it. For them, it was maybe they heard of it once as a small startup. There is a niche, specifically in the education sector, that really do know it, right? But does it have a brand? Is it a Procter & Gamble? Is it Coke? Is it Apple? No. So my definition of a brand, I guess, in this context is, are people eagerly waiting to hear what you are doing, right? Like, there are a million websites talking about, what's Apple's next operating system going to be like. Nobody cares what, what your and my next version of a product is going to look like, right? Maybe one of the people. We're not a brand in that. But we do want to develop a relationship and a unique experience with our customers and our just the audience that we have. That we do want to do, and that might be very similar to building a brand, but I wouldn't confuse them. So in other words, we want to create everything from the first ad they see all the way to the content they consume to whatever, however they use your product should be consistent and should be unique if possible. Right? So even if you have a B2B sort of boring hardcore product for paperwork, automation, something like that, right? Try to find a way to communicate it in an original way or in a unique way. How do you differ from the others? Right? And how do you make yours memorable so they don't confuse you with somebody else? And if people say, if you find that people say, oh yeah, I've been to your website, it's the one that, and then they start describing it for petition, it means you didn't develop a unique experience. But that has nothing to do with brand, in a sense, right? Because brand, we're not going to get there yet until we have lots of money to spend on branding. And we don't need to. It's not going to happen.
Thank you. Okay, great. And last question will be about, perhaps we'll take another one, about community. I mean, building a community is very important skill that a startup can have. And followers and supporters and people who give their opinion about the startup and development as well. And it can be the people who carry your message to the blog. How important is it, like for beginners, building communities, or integrating best marketing efforts for, building community as part of your business?
Yes, this comes up a lot, and I think that's because building community and the concept of understanding how to build a community or what it looks like is very, very difficult for startups. The reason for that is because we don't have the critical mass. We don't have enough people, right? Only, a fraction of a percent will really want to be involved in some sort of community, right? So in terms of seeing the results to that and say having some kind of discussion forum, which is really exciting, very few will take real action, and for a small startup, that sounds very scary. How do I do this? On the other hand, when you see it done well, you say, wow, that's amazing. So I think the first question is, how do you define community in the most loosely manner, and how does it benefit your product, or benefit, and at the same time benefit your user? If you can't find an answer for that, a community isn't for you, right? If you're a productivity app that helps people, sort out the clothing in their closet better, would a community help those people? Answer is maybe yes, but if you can't see a direct result, how? No. Now, it is expensive. It's going to take a lot of time, and I would say yes. Start working on it. Try different stuff and see where you get traction. And when you do, assume it's going to take you a very long time until you can really build it up and capitalize on it. And if you're a startup like ours, time is something that it's very hard to accept, because you don't, the stress is you've got to get another investment, you've got to show this to investors, you've got to keep going, you've got to make more money so you can hire more people, etc., etc. So The CEO is always going to look at that kind of effort and say, you're thinking too long term, I want you to think more short term, which is probably the right answer. Uh, but think of community in terms of the most loose approach you can, and if you can find a way to integrate community into your product, go for it. Go for it. If you can show results, do that. Number one, that's going to be your best converter from user to evangelist. That is really the only way to do it, to get people to evangelize your product.
Okay, great. And our last question for tonight, and I'm sure you have many more because marketing is an amazing domain. Someone wanted to ask about spreading the word once email had their MVP. How did they use or succeed reach that millions of audience? But probably it's to break it into many actions. But what's the main action you think caused your success?
Well, in emails we were fortunate because we had money. So we took the seed of advertising. It always starts to some extent with an advertising, with some kind of cost, right? So in our case, we put some advertising in, and we started getting people in. Now, if you have a viral model, or what I call a viral model, or multiplier, this pans out very well. So because you know that every user you're bringing in, if you pay for, will bring in another X users, right? Hopefully that viral model is very strong, and they'll bring in a lot more. And with emails, that's definitely the case. By definition, you make a presentation, you want to show it to other people. So the only question to us was, okay, do we have the cash? Yes. And how do we spend it wisely so the people who bring in, we get the highest return on share, if you will, rather than a return on revenue per user in the early stage. Many tactics that you can use to boost that if you don't have a lot of money. You need some money. Right? You can do guest blogs. You can partner up with somebody who has the traffic, and that takes a lot of phone calls, and you have to have something to offer in return. What is it? Maybe it's data, maybe it's sponsorship. You tell them, you know what, hey, you help me get traffic to my blog. I'll make sure that you will be featured on my homepage for the next year. Various things that you can do, and if you believe in you, it'll happen. So the different things. PR, all of that stuff, not going to work in very early stages. You're very early, unless you have such a disruptive idea and a lot of luck. Right? But that's going to cost a lot of money, and chances are it's just not going to work. The fact that you have an idea, you can do all kinds of social stuff that are for free and you spend a lot of time on. So no, nowadays to access audiences, you really need to spend some kind of cost at it.
Right. I want to thank you again for the time you spent with us. And I know we had a few problems in the beginning, but I'm sure everyone will just listen again to the recording and enjoy the content. We got many tools, and now we know where to start and do our marketing properly. So thank you again, Daniel. It was a pleasure.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it.
And if you want to hear more from Daniel, you're more than welcome to join the SEMrush Confessions blog, which you see here. That's it for tonight. I hope to see you in our next webinar next month, hopefully. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele.